Remember when one of the major roadblocks to EV ownership was the cost? Now, those days are now gone. Thanks to brands like BYD, the cost of EVs have now dropped to the point where some of them are cheaper than entry-level ICE models, while offering better build quality and more features. The BYD Seagull is one such example. It sells for about the same as the Honda Brio, but offers a more premium driving experience. And unlike other entry-level EVs, it doesn't make you feel like you're driving a golf cart. But are Filipinos ready for a full EV? And is the BYD Seagull worth their money? Let's find out. The entry cost for EV ownership is now a lot lower, but price is only one piece of the puzzle. Charging infrastructure and range anxiety are still major concerns for anyone thinking of switching. In this video, we'll talk about these concerns. We'll talk about the actual cost of running an EV. Is it actually a lot cheaper to run than ICE cars? And at the end of the video, we'll see if a pure EV like the Seagull is the right car for you. Let's first see how the BYD Seagull stacks up against similarly priced EVs. The Seagull has one of the biggest batteries in its class. It has a battery capacity of 30 kilowatt hours. Now, to put that number into perspective, the Dongfeng Nano Box has a battery capacity of 28.9 kilowatt hours. The VinFast VF3 has a battery capacity of 18.64, and the Jutor Ice Cream has a battery capacity of 13.9 kilowatt hours. Now, just because it has the biggest battery doesn't mean that it has the longest range. That depends on a lot of factors like the weight of the car and the power output. Now, the Seagull has a range of 300 kilometers. Now again, to put that number into perspective, the Dongfeng Nano Box, which has a smaller battery, has a longer range of 350 kilometers. The VinFast VF3 has a range of 200 kilometers, and the Jutor Ice Cream has a range of 170 kilometers. In terms of power output, the BYD Seagull has one of the most powerful motors in its class. So this has 174 horsepower and 135 Newton meters of torque. The Dongfeng Nano Box has 44 horsepower and 125 Newton meters. The VinFast VF3 has 40 horsepower, and the Jutor Ice Cream has 25 horsepower. So technically, you could say that it's the most powerful EV under 1 million pesos. Now, the VinFast VF5 has technically more power. The only way to buy the VinFast VF5 under 1 million pesos is if you opt for the optional battery subscription service. Despite its low price, it doesn't look bare on the outside. You get LED headlamps with LED DRLs. You get these 16-inch alloys wrapped in 175/55 series tires. You also get disc brakes on all four corners. You get power adjustable side mirrors. You get a smart locking system. Okay, here at the back, you get an LED light bar. You get rear parking sensors, a reverse camera over there. You get a manual liftgate. Now, thankfully, we get a sticker here which indicates where you should press to open the tailgate, which is over here. And this is how much cargo space we have on the Seagull. It is bigger than almost anything in its class, except for the VinFast VF5, which is slightly more expensive. I think the Seagull has one of the nicest interiors among EVs under 1 million pesos. Its styling is similar to the Atto 3. It's quirky, but not quite as playful. You get these cylindrical shapes over here, which are actually your buttons for your climate control. You get leather-wrapped armrests over here and also over here. You also get leather-wrapped seats. Both front seats are manually adjustable. You get a leather-wrapped steering wheel over here. Your USB ports are down here. You have one USB-A port, one USB-C port, and I like the position of the wireless phone charger. It's right at the center of the center console, and you can place it vertically so you can easily access your phone if you have to, although I would not recommend it if you're driving. It has BYD signature screen. Now this can go in vertical and horizontal orientations, and the display on the screen will adapt accordingly. In terms of materials, this is hard plastic, this is leather wrapped over here, this is soft touch, this is leather wrapped over here. It's a pretty nice looking interior for the price, especially compared to other EVs in the same price bracket. It is also one of the more spacious cabins in its class. The VinFast VF5 is more spacious, but that's also a bit more expensive. Okay, so here's the back seat. You don't get any air vents, no USB ports. There is no center armrest. Space though is pretty decent for a car of this size. They have about 5 inches of knee room. Headroom is about 2 inches. It is surprisingly spacious for a car of this size. Compared to other subcompact hatchbacks like the Wigo and the Brio, driving the Seagull is very different in a lot of ways. Number one, NVH is a lot better on the Seagull. Now obviously we don't have an engine, so there is no engine noise. There is no vibration coming from the engine. Also, it has much better noise insulation than both the Wigo and the Brio. Now in terms of power, it actually has a bit less power than the Brio, but because it's electric, the torque comes in a lot sooner. So when I step on the gas right now, it is immediate. You get pushed back into your seat. It feels quicker than the Brio when you initially step on the gas. It does feel pretty quick. The suspension though is tuned more for comfort than for handling. There is quite a lot of body roll. It's quick and it feels very nimble at city speeds. I don't think that I can call it sporty though, not with its soft suspension and skinny tires. Perhaps because of the weight of the battery and the skinny tires, it feels like it's a lot more rear heavy than most front-wheel drive ICE cars. Almost like the rear end is more ready to rotate when you're doing quick maneuvers. Although I must stress that it feels within safe limits. It doesn't feel like an unsafe car to drive. But better tires I think would make this a lot more confidence inspiring. The car is very fuel efficient. In the city I get about 11 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers, and on the highway I can get 6.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. As promised, we'll talk about the cost of driving the car, the cost of charging, etc. But before all that, let's first hear a word from our sponsor. Introducing the Atto Sport Mobility Scooter, the world's most innovative mobility scooter. It folds into a small suitcase size, and it has wheels so you can move it around like a trolley. It separates into 2 parts. It has leather seats and grips, an illuminated LCD dashboard, enhanced lighting for extra visibility. You can install optional armrests. It's perfect for seniors as it's easy to lift and unfolds in seconds. It has a maximum speed of 10 kph, shock absorbing flat free tires, high ground clearance, advanced braking system. Be free to travel anywhere, land, sea or air. It has 20 kilometers of continuous driving range. Engineered with flair, designed with passion for performance. Be active, be free, be yourself. Atto Sport, moving life. As of December 2024, there were 130 charging stations in Metro Manila. Well, that number is increasing, but probably not at a fast enough rate compared to the growing number of EVs and PHEVs in the country. In Metro Manila, most major malls come with charging stations. We're currently at 1 Ayala, and they have a DC charger here. Most major Ayala and SM malls have EV charging stations, like this one at 1 Ayala Mall. Now, this was free up until December last year. Now, they charge 35 pesos per kilowatt hour for DC and 28.5 for AC. You'll need an app called Evro, which I have on my phone right now, to access these stations. You activate the charger and pay for it using the app. And the app also allows you to see where you can find unoccupied charging stations, which can be very helpful.
and slide to start charging. In Manila, we have plenty of charging stations. Although now that EVs are becoming more common, finding an empty charging station is becoming more and more difficult. I remember last year I could just go to SM North and charge my car, and rarely do I see another car charging there. But last night I went to SM North and all the charging ports were taken.
Now, DC charging is faster than AC, but even with DC charging, it'll take 30 minutes to charge from 30 to 80%. You can't stay in the car though with the aircon running to make the waiting process a bit less tedious. AC charging takes a lot longer. It'll take you about 5 hours to get a full charge.
So I've only been here for a couple of minutes and we have increased our charge by about 5%. I'm getting 31.7 kilowatts from the charger. I can fully charge the car in just 47 minutes, from about 26% to 100%.
Now, things have changed a lot since I started reviewing electrified vehicles a couple of years ago. Back then, you could basically drive EVs for free because almost all charging stations were free, and nobody had EVs, so you basically had free exclusive parking and free indefinite charging almost every day. But now, times have changed. Ayala now asks a fee for charging, and charging stations are now a lot more occupied, thanks to the popularity of plug-in hybrids, which use the same charging stations. So while there are still free charging stations, you can't rely on those for charging anymore. Currently, AC Mobility charges 35 pesos per kilowatt hour for DC charging and 28.5 pesos for AC charging. Since we know the energy consumption of the Seagull, let's do a bit of math. The energy consumption of the Seagull in the city is 6.9 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. On the highway, it is 11 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometers. If you charge at Ayala DC charging stations, that costs about 35 pesos per kilowatt hour. So in total, you'll be spending 241.5 pesos on the highway and 385 pesos in the city every 100 kilometers. If you charge at AC stations, that goes down to 196.7 pesos on the highway and 313.5 pesos in the city every 100 kilometers. But charging at public AC stations is not really ideal, as it will take several hours to get a decent charge. Now, for comparison, the Honda Brio consumes about 5 liters per 100 kilometers on the highway and about 8.3 liters per 100 kilometers in the city. So the Brio would cost 280 pesos on the highway and 672 pesos in the city every 100 kilometers, given current gasoline prices of 56 pesos per liter. Now, the difference is noticeable, but probably less than what people are expecting. The way you maximize your savings is by charging at home. Currently, Meralco charges 12 pesos per kilowatt hour. That's less than half the cost of AC charging at an Ayala Mall. That would translate to 82.8 pesos per 100 kilometers on the highway and 132 pesos per 100 kilometers in the city. Now, some install solar panels on their home to further lower that cost or even bring it down to zero. Also, you can charge your car while you're sleeping or while watching Netflix, so waiting several hours is not really an issue. EVs also do not have engines, which require oil changes, air filters, spark plugs. Brake pads also last longer on an EV because of regenerative braking. So overall, you get to save on PMS if you get an EV. Battery replacement would be the most significant cost down the road. Now, I don't know the exact cost for the Seagull, but by current estimates, it's in the 6-figure range. BYD gives 8 years of warranty for the battery, and EV batteries tend to last a lot longer than that. Some last 10 to 20 years. Battery prices also typically decrease over time, so by the time it needs replacing, it should be more affordable. Now, I'll end this video by answering 2 questions. 1, should you get an EV? And 2, should you get the Seagull? An EV has a lot of perks. You get number coding exemption, you get to save on fuel, you get to save on PMS, and you contribute less pollution to the environment, if you care about that. And also, EVs are more energy efficient than hybrids as they don't have to carry the extra weight of an internal combustion engine. I still think that in the Philippines, due to our limited infrastructure and by the fact that charging takes a lot more time than refueling, EVs are best used as second cars for those who already own ICE vehicles. If you think that unplanned long trips outside of Manila are in your future, it's still best to have an ICE vehicle around. If you plan to get just one car but want the perks of an EV, get a plug-in hybrid instead. Cars like the BYD Seagull 5 can do 110 kilometers of electric range without charging. That's going to be good enough for a couple of days of your daily commute to work. But you can still take it on long road trips without range anxiety because you have the ICE engine as backup. However, if you know for sure that the range is enough for you and you don't see the need to bring a car on long road trips, then choose an EV over a hybrid as they are more energy efficient. The Seagull is not the cheapest EV, but for its price of less than 1 million pesos, it doesn't feel as compromised as a lot of its competitors, which tend to have very little cabin space and cargo space. The Seagull gets more cabin space than even regular ICE cars like the Brio. You got decent power, good noise insulation, and pretty decent ride quality. It does a lot of things well, and if you need just one EV, not a second car or a city-only vehicle, the Seagull feels like the most complete option under 1 million pesos.